Hi everyone, it's Raquel Berman here, and today I'm here sharing a layout for Coco Vanilla Studio, and this one's using the U-Rock collection. And I went back into my Coco stash and pulled out this collection because I had this absolutely adorable photo of my little man that I'd taken, and I thought the U-Rock collection, of course, would be perfect. The black and white, the way that the photo's printed in black and white, just really adds to the effect of the whole layout in the end. So I decided to do a bit of my kind of mixed media. I grabbed out my Sizzix mixed media dies. Now, one of these is like a splatter set and the other one is stars. And the stars are in sort of like a diagonal sort of fashion, and they're all, you'll see it just here as I'm running it through, they're all sort of grouped together, but then there's some singular pieces, and I just played around with those smaller stars to embellish the page at the end, and I really wanted that pop of black that complemented the photo and the collection so well. So I've got sort of two different dies that I've used, and then I also will grab out some India ink, which was a little scary, but I did it and I was really happy with the end result. So I'm matting my 8.5 by 11, which I've cut, white cardstock, which I've cut a bit smaller. And I'm matting that using that gorgeous black and sort of, it's a bit of a distressed white star. And my idea was to sort of build some layers behind my photo, put that up sort of towards the top left of the page, and then sort of work on a bit of a diagonal with my embellishing. So I wanted to use some of those splatters, which I cut out on that blue. It's sort of like a bit of a watercolor look paper. And I wanted to sort of arrange those on the page. But then once I'd done that, I decided that I needed to add the ink like I'm going to town doing right now. So I've put some scrap paper behind my layout just so that I didn't get that overspray onto my desk, and I'm just going for it. I changed the height of where I was dropping the splatters from, and that either made the splatters sort of smaller or it made them larger and sort of fan out and give a nice sort of speckled effect as well. And then once that dried, which I'm not used to having to wait for something to dry, but once that dried, I was able to continue working on the page and working on that sort of diagonal of embellishing. The mixed media die, the splatter one that I use, sort of has one larger splatter and then one smaller one. So I used the larger one and cut that in half, so I was able to maximize that piece, and then I cut the smaller one a couple of times so that I could have one coming off the edge of the page, and that was really on that bottom right side just to balance out the top heaviness of the photo in that top left corner. So that the original sticker from the sticker sheet had to be added, and I used that a bit like a tab, I suppose. It's really meant to be like a journaling block sort of a sticker, but I liked the way that that looked at the edge of that photo. And I think I'd used all of the other ones, so there wasn't one that sort of was in the colour palette that I wanted that would have worked there. I also have used a binding edge punch to punch a bit of a notebook look layer to go under my photo. And I've matted as well with some black cardstock just to frame that photo and really help it pop even more. That hello text is a really fine die as well. It's another one of the Sizzix mixed media ones, and it just has a set of 3 words. And so I've added that, and then I've had a play with the tiny word stickers because I wanted it to say, "Hello, my little heartbreaker." So what I ended up doing was, there was one that said little man, so I used the little from that. There was one that had my in it, so I took that away, and then heartbreaker was another one of the words, so that worked perfectly. And I fitted that onto the tab that you can see that I'm sticking it on top of now. So once I have the stickers down, I wanted to have a little bit of a play around with the stars that I'd cut out, as well as some of the smaller embellishments in the kit. So here I do fiddle around for a little bit on this layout, just trying to figure out what would work, and I didn't want to introduce any new colors either. I wanted to be really mindful of sticking with sort of black, white and blue tones. So those stars really helped me to give more detail to my layout without introducing another color, because I can cut, being dye, I can cut them on whatever color that I like. So just black cardstock worked fine. These stars are like a bit of a misshapen star, so they have a bit of a grungy look to them. So I thought that they would be perfect to add to this page and to add around the splatters and what was on the layout. So I'm using my fine line glue just to add those to different spots. And because the stars were in a bit of a cluster, you can see there that I just cut one of the larger outline stars off, and I'm just sort of manipulating that die to work for this layout. So that's going to go just to the right of the photo there. I have added already some enamel dots, which just, again, like the smaller stars, add that little detail and that extra something to the layout. And I will shortly work on some journaling. And really the journaling is just going to talk a little bit about how adorable this kid is. He is, he's the child that when you have your first, you get, there's a quote about, you know, your first child can put you into this false sense of security with how well behaved, and then the second one comes along and your world turns upside down. And yeah, that was pretty much our story with Jack here. He's definitely full of energy and keeps us on our toes. He's the most adorable, loving little thing, and he's definitely a mummy's boy. I get lots and lots of cuddles and snuggles from him. He's 3 now, but he certainly also spends some time in time out and, you know, those sorts of things, not making the best choices. He just he acts and doesn't think first sometimes, and maybe that's because he's 3, and, you know, that's just him and we love him for it. So I add my journaling just about what a little spunk he is, and I'm going to pop that sort of a bit to underneath where the title area is. I wasn't really wanting to fill this page, but it does really work on that diagonal, and I've got the white space sort of on the bottom left and top right of the page, so I feel like the page is balanced, but I definitely did want to add my story. I couldn't sort of leave this page as Hello Little Heartbreaker without me telling a little bit about this photo, and that's sort of what I tend to do on most of my layouts anyway. So I'm using my T-square ruler just to make sure that I've got that first row of journaling nice and straight, and then once I've done that, I'll just gauge off the rest of the strips above just to keep and continue the journaling neatly, I guess. I finish and see if I need to add a couple more stars or dots or whatever else it might be. And I did flick through some of the other packs of enamel dots, but I ended up just adding a little star, and this is the finished layout. So I've got a few close-ups to end, and this layout can be found over at the Coco Vanilla blog, and I will see you on my channel super soon. Thanks everyone for watching. Bye.